We're on a 7-night cruise from Seattle, Washington to Alaska aboard Quantum of the Seas. So in this video, we're gonna go over all the stuff we did on our 2 sea days on this cruise, from what we ate to the shows we watched and the activities we participated in. I'm Travis.
And I'm Nicole.
Let's get wanderlost. Let's start off with some of my favorite parts of cruising, and that's the food. On our first sea day for lunch, we went to the English pub on the Royal Esplanade. And if you didn't know, because it's not like this on most Royal Caribbean ships, the English pubs on the Quantum class ships, so Quantum, Anthem, Ovation, and Odyssey, have food. And this is because it used to be known as Michael's Genuine Pub, which is a pub chain in Miami, Florida. So they have food, even though they don't have that license agreement anymore. So on our first full sea day, we went there for lunch, and I had the Royal Pub Burger, which was a hamburger. And we also had the fried lobster mac and cheese bites and the German pretzel bites. And then for dessert, we ordered the cheesecake, the fried cheesecake, but they also gave us the fried apple pie by mistake. So let's talk about it real quick. Now, if you watch some of our videos, I speak very highly of Guy's Burger joint on Carnival Cruise Line, and I've never really spoken too highly of the burgers on Royal Caribbean. And I will say the burger in the pub on Quantum of the Seas was pretty good. Now, we'll also say the pub food is not free. It is at an additional cost. It's almost like specialty dining. If you have the dining plan through Royal Caribbean, this is where you'd use that $20 per day credit. So the burger with cheese is $10. So it's a little expensive for a hamburger on a cruise ship, but I thought it was pretty good, and the French fries were actually pretty good as well. Actually excellent. I like them.
The mac and cheese bites were pretty good actually. They had some chunks of lobster in them, so that was a decent value because they were only $4. The pretzel bites were a little dry and could have used some cheese sauce.
Now for dessert, I actually liked both of the desserts that we had. I like apple pie, and the fried apple pie was really good. And what did you think of the cheesecake?
I was hoping that the cheesecake would be similar to the fried cheesecake dessert that they serve in 150 Central Park on the Oasis class ships, which is more of a solid cheesecake than just fried. Unfortunately, it was slightly different. This was more very creamy texture, almost liquidy. Flavor was good, but I prefer the one at 150 Central Park.
I would order the burger again, and we would order the fried lobster mac and cheese, and we would order the apple pie again. The other ones were just okay. The next place that we tried on our sea days for lunch was the Noodle Shop, which is also called Splashaway Cafe, and it's located on deck 14 near the back of the ship, kind of outside of the Windjammer. Now, another really cool fact, like I mentioned about the pub, the Noodle Shop used to be known as something else. Originally, when Quantum of the Seas first opened, it was Johnny Rockets, and then when they partnered with DreamWorks Studios, they turned it into Kung Fu Panda Noodle Shop. And then when that agreement ended in 2019, they just kind of removed all of the signage, and it's now known as either the Noodle Shop or Splashaway Cafe. This place specializes in noodles and Chinese food. They also have free chicken tenders and hot dog bites and French fries, which is a little weird for a noodle shop. But let's talk about the noodles that we ordered from the Noodle Shop.
The first time we went there, we ordered the beef satay and the kung pao chicken and rice. The satay is $2, and the noodle and rice dishes are $6 a piece. The beef satay was actually surprisingly tender, and it had a peanut sauce to go with it. And the kung pao chicken had quite a kick to it.
Yeah, I thought for $6 it was a pretty decent lunch, and it was authentically spicy for kung pao chicken.
The second time that we went there for lunch on our last sea day, we tried the chicken satay and then the fried rice. The chicken was not as good as the beef was, so if you are in between the two, definitely go for the beef. The fried rice, I enjoyed. I thought, I mean, it wasn't authentic fried rice, but compared to the fried rice that you get in the Windjammer, I was happy with it.
I think our two meals that we had at the Noodle Shop were pretty decent. The only downside is that they are not free. It's not included with your cruise fare again, just like the pub. And if you do have the dining package, again, you can use your $20 credit per day, per person at this venue. I think it should be included, but I know why it's not. The next place that we tried for food on our sea days was included, an actual included complimentary food option, and it was the Seaplex Doghouse, which is the hot dog stand inside the Seaplex. I ordered the regular hot dog on the everything bun, and of course you can top it with the condiments that you like. Overall, it's a hot dog. It's better than what you would get in the Windjammer, and it is included with your cruise fare, so you don't have to pay additional for it. I would say it's on par with a hot dog that you would get at a baseball game. Nothing special, but it's a hot dog.
I got the bratwurst also on an everything bun, and I told Travis that I wanted a good amount of mustard, which apparently means all of the mustard.
All of the mustard.
But it was still good. It was a typical brat, nothing special, but again, it's free and it is very similar to what you would get at a sporting event.
It's a perfect spot in the Seaplex, especially with all the kids that were there. It's a quick grab something and go type of little kiosk. You shouldn't be expecting too much from a hot dog place. Now let's talk about the main dining room. And specifically, we're going to talk about night 6, which is the second formal night, which is Royal Night, and it's also the night on its 7-night or longer cruises that is Lobster Night, which is everybody's favorite. Now, for Lobster Night, remember Royal Caribbean changed the rules about a year or two ago where you cannot just order as many lobsters as you want. This is the one night where there is a limit. We ordered, well, at least I did, I ordered the Caesar salad for my appetizer, and then I did a surf and turf. I ordered the New York strip with the lobster. And then for dessert, I ordered the strawberry shortcake. What did you order, Nicole?
I ordered the shrimp cocktail, also ordered the strip steak and lobster, and then for dessert, I might have had the red velvet cake and the chocolate lava cake.
For the lobster, it's lobster. We like lobster, and you should definitely order it if you like lobster in the main dining room. I love strawberry shortcake, and I destroyed the strawberry shortcake.
For the steak and lobster, if you can, I know some people like their steak well done, but in the main dining room, that is not a good idea. Order it medium rare. They usually tend to, because it is mass produced, overcook it, so it'll probably be closer to medium, which is what you're looking for. The molten lava cake was super rich and chocolatey with vanilla ice cream. That is always a hit. And the red velvet cake was okay. It wasn't my favorite red velvet cake that I've had on Royal Caribbean.
That was some of the food that we ate on our sea days. Let's talk about some of the shows we watched. On our first sea day in the Royal Theater, we saw a show called Sequins and Feathers, which was a song and dance review show. Very similar to some of the stuff that Royal Caribbean does on all of their ships.
Overall, it was an entertaining show. It had really good music, good soundtrack, and the singers and dancers, as usual, were super talented.
Yeah, we liked it much more than the show that we watched in the 270 Lounge on Embarkation Day, Starwater. This is more of your traditional Royal Caribbean. On our second sea day, we had a headliner act, and their names were Mofivic. I'm kidding. Their name was Mosaic, but they have a number 5 in the middle of their name.
This show was very different than shows that you may expect when it comes to a singing or dancing entertainment group. This was a group of individuals who sing and make music with no instruments at all. So they just use their voices to imitate the sounds of instruments, and they do it surprisingly well.
Yeah, so think of like a beatbox type person, and then all 5 of them either do a different instrument or a beatbox. It was very interesting. We weren't expecting to like it, especially when the cruise director described what the show would be, but it was really cool. And we went to this show with my nephews and my brother's family, and they really liked it as well. So we went into it with really low expectations, and it kind of was kind of awesome. Overall, it was a really excellent show. And if you do see Mosaic on one of your cruise compasses, we highly suggest going to go see it. It is an interesting show, and it's a lot different than what you would normally see on a cruise ship, and it's worth a watch. It was excellent. Check it out. With the shows, obviously there's a couple different venues on board Quantum of the Seas. You have the 270 lounge in the back of the ship, and of course the Royal Theater at the front of the ship. And if you didn't know, if you're Diamond and above on most sailings with Royal Caribbean, you can get a free tour of the backstage areas of the Royal Theater. And on our second sea day, this is exactly what we did for the first time in all of our cruises. We actually had time to do it. So we took a backstage tour of the Royal Theater and saw everything that there was that goes into a show on a Royal Caribbean ship.
It was very cool, and it's very surprising to see how they are able to put on these large-scale productions with so many people involved in the very tiny space that is the backstage.
Yeah, there is almost no room backstage. There's probably like 10 or 15 of us on this tour, and we barely fit in some of the backstage areas as a group. And there's way more than 10 people in a lot of these shows, especially with all of the props and costumes and the different stage setups and stuff that they have. We even got to go into the locker rooms or the changing rooms or dressing rooms, whatever you want to call them, and saw how much room they have back there to do all the stuff that they need to do. And there's not much. Unfortunately, we were not allowed to take photos or video backstage, so a lot of our video is going to be of the stage. And I don't know, we were center stage on a cruise ship. It was pretty cool. I liked it. So we've talked about food and the shows aboard Quantum of the Seas. Let's talk about the activities. And these are all the stuff that you can participate in on your cruise, especially on your sea days. The first 2 that we'll talk about, and we'll kind of blend them together, are the parties. Because what else are you going to do on a cruise ship except dance the night away?
Go to bed.
So on Quantum of the Seas, they do 2 different parties, and they take place not on the Royal Promenade like on most ships. They take place in the 270 lounge at the very back of the ship. There was the One Hit Wonders party, which seems to be something that Royal Caribbean is doing on all of their ships. And then there was also the 70s, 80s, and 90s party.
First of all, the fact that there is a 90s party makes me feel some type of way. But it was a good show, and it's always nice to have some different music. I will say, one, being in the 270 lounge gives you a very good view if you're not actually taking part in the party. You just kind of want to, be with the vibe and see what's going on. There's a lot more seating areas and viewpoints than what there are in the promenade. And 2, the One Hit Wonders party, while it is fun, I do wish they would pick some new songs.
Yeah, same songs on every ship.
Yes, so at least you always know exactly what songs come in next.
Yeah, same order too.
Yep.
These parties were really good on Quantum. I think more people were involved, or it was just a smaller space that it felt like more people were involved. And tons of people were dancing and getting into it with the party that was on the stage. And the cruise director team takes care of it. We also took part in trivia. We did sports trivia on day 2 because I used to play a lot of baseball, and so did my brother, and the kids like sports. This one was more of a visual sports trivia, and we didn't do too well at it. There's a lot of trivia on board Quantum of the Seas, and they do them in different venues than they do on most Royal Caribbean ships. There was some in 270, there was even trivia back in the Royal Theater. So make sure you check your cruise compass and see if there's any types of trivia that stand out to you, and check them out. There's a lot of different options for that.
Another thing to do on your sea days are game shows. Royal Caribbean does a ton of different game shows, different themes on different ships, and the ones that we went to on Quantum of the Seas were the Yes and No game show, which took place in the 270 lounge. And this was where they pinned two guests against each other and they had to ask each other questions, but they could not use the word yes or the word no. So I probably would have lost immediately. The next game show that we went to was Name That Tune Kazoo Edition. So they had to play on the kazoo a specific song, and then you had to guess what it was. And as you can imagine, they were not all very good kazoo players. So sometimes that is very difficult to do. It was entertaining though, and it was funny to see. The last game show that we went to usually takes place on the pool deck. However, since this was a more cold weather cruise, they did the Sexiest Man competition in the 270 lounge as well. This one is maybe a little bit more adult. However, families are welcome and there were a ton of kids there. But it is very entertaining to see what some of these competitors come up with.
Yeah, there's different skits and stuff they have to do to be considered the world's sexiest man, which I would have no chance at winning. Next up, we went up to the Seaplex a couple different times. One time, my brother and his family were trying to compete in archery, which they do archery in the Seaplex. Not with real arrows though. It's very similar to what we had on Mariner of the Seas, but in a larger scale, where it's like suction cups on a flat surface type of archery. And it was a tournament style with all the guests, with an ultimate winner at the very end. And it was team-based, so family versus family. The other thing that we went up to the Seaplex for on our sea days was bumper cars. They did bumper cars by age group. So the kids, like my brother's kids, were part of the teen group. So I couldn't hit them, unfortunately. At least not with the car. But bumper cars is something you can do on these Quantum class ships, especially Quantum of the Seas. And it's a really cool experience. On our sailing, the lines did get kind of long at times, but they did break it up by age group. So depending if you were a teen or a younger kid, you could get on there a little bit quicker if you went to those time slots. The everything goes time slots, the lines went almost around the Seaplex. So be mindful of that if you're trying to get on the bumpers cars.
The last thing that we did on our sea day is check out the casino. If you did not know, based on your status with Royal Caribbean, they do give you free play credits for the casino, and since we are Diamond, we each get $6 a piece in free play. So big money. And if you guys wanted to know how quickly $12 goes in the Royal Caribbean casino, it's about 60 seconds.
Yeah.
So we usually do not have any luck with the slot machines, and this was no exception. It was gone before we even knew what happened.
Yeah, we're not big gamblers. The free play is enough for us, usually, even though it's like 2 minutes or less.
But it is free money, and you never know, your luck could be better than ours, and maybe you'd win it big. So we always check it out just to honestly see how quickly we can lose the money.
We normally time it. I think the record is like 20 seconds. So that was all of the food we ate, well, not all of it, most of it, and the shows we watched, and the activities that we went to or participated in aboard Quantum of the Seas on our 2 sea days on our 7-night Alaskan cruise. If you have any questions about the stuff that we did on our sea days, or if you have some stuff that you like to do on your sea days, make sure you leave those in the comment section below. If you'd like to support our channel and you like this video, make sure you
like this video
and subscribe to our channel for more. If you need us, we didn't mention it, but we're gonna go up to the Windjammer and eat all of the desserts, all of them. I'm Travis.
And I'm Nicole.
Thanks so much for watching.